Welcome to another episode of Vaughn's View. And I want to thank you guys again for tuning in. Thank you guys for your subscriptions, your support, sharing, liking, everything that y'all do, suggestions. And man, I'm still on vacation, so I thought it would be fitting to talk a little bit about customer service, evaluating businesses. I'm talking specifically when it comes to how they treat people. Do they have integrity? Do they lack integrity? How do they treat their customers? How do they treat their members? What's crazy is, I don't know if you guys are my age, but if you remember even in the 90s, I remember even growing up as a child, that a lot of these businesses, including McDonald's, they were ran a lot better. I'm not saying that they were perfect. They had issues as well. And some of it we probably didn't notice because we were children growing up. But now it's like I notice a lot. And I actually started working at my first technical legal job was at Publix supermarkets, a grocery store down here in the South. They have them in Florida, Georgia, and I think some other spots too, right? But they definitely have them here in Florida. So I started in Jacksonville. The day I turned 16 years old, I started working at Publix. And, I was a bagger / cashier. I did stock here and there, but they immediately taught us about, of course, the principle, the customer's always right, which we know they're not always right, but that's what they taught us. They taught us about professionalism. So there were days I would come in and I would be upset, tired, grumpy, angry, wanting to quit or whatever, but I still treated people with respect. And there were customers that would only come to my line, and I was only 16 years old. They would only come to my line just to get my customer service, just to hear me ask how they're doing, just to see a smile on my face, etc. Right? And I was 16 years old. This was years ago. So why is it now that I go to a lot of these places? Like, for example, if you go to a McDonald's today, as soon as you pull up, what do you see? Go ahead, take your order. Are you ready? Wait a minute, I'm patronizing you. I am supporting this business. You may not own this McDonald's. You're just a cashier, or you're just doing a drive-through window, or whatever you are doing. You may not own this particular restaurant or franchise, but by me patronizing, by me spending my money, and by you out there spending your money, you're employed because of that. If people stop going to McDonald's tomorrow, they're gonna cut a lot of jobs. If people stop going all around the world and they lose a lot of business, guess who's gonna go? Some of the cashiers, some of the cooks, and they're gonna put that work on others to do more work. And that's a lot of what you see at Walmart. What they do is they'll have about 100 freaking cash registers open, right? Or not open, they'll have 100 lanes, quote unquote, 1 through 30, and it'll be like 3 open. And out of that 3 open, somebody just took a break. There's one person scanning 100 people, right? It's just crazy. But that's the type of customer service that we have seen that we're dealing with today, is that number one, these companies treat their employees like crap. They don't protect their employees. A customer can go in there and treat them like trash or whatever, and the company will just allow it because they don't want to scare that customer off. But by doing so, now you're losing employees. Because I've heard there's a very popular quote: "People don't quit jobs, they quit bosses." And that in a lot of ways is true. There are a lot of people who would stay on their jobs. There are a lot of people who would have never even started businesses. A lot of them were forced. But because people are not doing good business, they don't have manners, they don't treat people like humans that work for them, that are making them money, people end up quitting and going somewhere else. So they just start their own job. They get tired of it. They start their own business, right? I found that from a grocery store, Publix, and from a restaurant standpoint, a fast food restaurant, Chick-fil-A and Publix, they're killing it most times. I've rarely ever went there and had an issue where I felt, and so it's crazy that when you go to these McDonald's, they will mess up your order and then they'll have an attitude with you. And I'm like, yo, I just said ketchup only. Like, it's real simple. You don't have to throw no lettuce. It's a real simple. Toast the bread, put the burger on the bread, and then pour a little ketchup on it, and I'm good. I'm not asking for like 2 tomatoes on the bottom, 1 on the top, throw half lettuce on the top, throw some cheese on the bun, then inside the bun, then on the bottom. Nobody's doing all that. It's very simple, but yet they have an attitude, and it's like, man, what's really going on? And I've seen that a lot. Or I'll go to I've been to places where the cashier will be laughing with the person in front of me. It's usually a white person talking to a white person, and then when I go up there, it's kind of silence, and I'm like, yo, I don't think I look intimidating. So like, what's really going on? Or they just don't speak to anybody. They're just scanning, they'll just grab your groceries. Next thing you know, you hear beep, beep, beep. And it's like, okay, you can't speak and say hello. Like, you are supposed to be the professional. You're getting paid by this company. Me as a businessman, I know how to run a business and I know how to treat people. So if I come into your place of establishment, I expect the same treatment. I expect to be, you don't have to kiss my behind, but you can't say, hello, sir, how are you doing? Did you find everything you need? How's your day going? Oh, it's going great. Oh, thanks for asking, blah, blah. Continue scanning. We don't have to have a whole conversation, but the fact that you can't even look me in my eye and say hello, most places I go to, and I may have to start filming this on camera. I don't know what the legal ramifications are or how that works. I'm gonna have to blur people out. Most places I go to, I promise y'all, I promise on everything, I have to speak to the cashier or the person first. My family and I have walked into clothing stores that are owned by, somebody locally, and they'll just look at us, we go in, or they'll just be on their phone and it's like, bruh, you can't even say hello, how you doing? Let me know if you need anything. And we're looking, and then we just decided, no, we're not gonna spend our money here. We're not gonna patronize you, and you can't even speak to us like a human being. Like, bruh, I'm not coming here begging for clothes. I'm not getting a freebie. And even if I was, you can still speak to me as a human being, right? So a lot of these companies, I know y'all have experienced it as well. A lot of these companies, it's just crappy service. And so, I've dealt with a ton of situations, name it AT&T, Comcast, a lot of places to where they don't have integrity. They tell you one thing, you go on, I talk to one customer rep, they tell you one thing, then I'm like, okay, cool, great. Then when I expect that thing to be upheld, I talk to another customer rep and say, well, sir, we don't do that. And I'm like, okay, then I talk to another one that says something different. So I'm like, bruh, how many, do y'all really work for this company? Like, am I being punked? What's going on? Why do y'all keep telling me different stuff? And this is multiple companies, man. Or they'll do something wrong that they said they wouldn't do or they would do, whatever. And I'll hold them accountable, and they don't want to be held accountable, man. They have every excuse in the book. Well, sir, there's nothing we can do. And y'all know the famous one. They will take your money right away when you pay something. But if they make a mistake, if they overcharge your card, like if you get direct deposit, if they take it out automatic payment and they take that payment out, and let's say they take double the money, they don't just be like, oh, sir, our mistake, we'll give it right back. No, they take like a month, a week, 2 weeks, 5 or 10 business days, right? But it was so easy to take your money, and it's so hard to return it. And then when they return it, a lot of times they don't even want to compensate. Like, yo, you disadvantaged. You put me at a disadvantage. You don't know what my finances are looking like, and you took another payment. You took 2 payments out. You need to give me a couple free months of your subscription, or a couple free months or whatever, whether it's the electric company, whatever it is, but they don't want to be held accountable, and they don't want to do the right thing oftentimes. T-Mobile, I found, is probably one of the only companies that I've dealt with in the last few years, at least for me. I can't speak for everybody because I'm sure there's some stories, but T-Mobile is one of the only companies that I've dealt with in the last few years that I honestly say, and I've been with them since I think 2014. I can honestly say T-Mobile, when there's an issue, when they do wrong or something happens that's not my fault, they own up to it. There's no excuses. There's no whining about it. It doesn't take 3 years to get me to a manager. It's just very simple. Here you go, sir. Here's your credit. We gave you a credit this. We accidentally took this money out. We said we were going to do this. We didn't do it. We charged. We were supposed to pay for your Netflix. We didn't pay for it. So here's 3 months, whatever it is, right? They take care of it. And I'm grateful for that. So I'm like, yo, unless they truly become trash, I'm not going nowhere. I know Verizon, people like Verizon and people like other stuff, but I love T-Mobile, And so, but there's so many of these businesses that just do crappy work. I'm just grateful for those companies that are good. I mean, so I want to thank all those companies out there that are doing good. If you're doing great business, great service, I appreciate you. Those black-run businesses that y'all are doing well, I appreciate you. And I do want to take time to say this. Even when it comes to black business, I've met some crappy black business owners. I've met some people that are doing business that are black, that have attitudes, they don't speak, etc. And I've met white ones as well. But I don't allow that to deter me from supporting black businesses. There are great and good black businesses. You just have to go out there and find it, and they're not that hard. You just have to have a willingness to it. We can't just say, oh, I went to this black business, they didn't speak to me, so I'll never do it again. The clothing company that I told you about, the shoe company that we went to go buy some shoes from, they didn't speak, they were black. Okay, no problem. We'll go to another one. We're not gonna not support, we just won't support this particular business. Maybe they'll get it together later and I can commend them and go from there. But until then, you won't get my business. I'm just one person I know, but that's how it is. So don't ever allow that to stop you from supporting black people. We need that wealth in our community. And so go support black businesses. Absolutely. I'm all for it. Just don't support the crappy ones. Don't encourage the crappy ones to keep on going. If they're not speaking, call them out. And that's something that I would, if I could go back, I would have said, hey, you guys didn't speak to me when we came in. and this is why I'm not going to support your business, et cetera, et cetera. I don't want them to think that I just didn't have money, I was just window shopping, or I just left or whatever, or I was trying to steal something, whatever. I want you to know specifically you had my money and you lost it by your crappy communication, your crappy customer service, or your lack of serving the customer, et cetera, right? Well, I could do a whole documentary on the fact that these businesses, how crappy they are. I mean, it is terrible. Me and my family, we talk about it all the time. Some of my friends, close friends, we talk about it. Man, I just went to so-and-so today and it was crappy. You know, some of these businesses, you'll go in line and they'll have people call out, and instead of just saying, hey, you know, we're short on staff, you know, the wait could be longer, let somebody know. I've sat in dine-in restaurants where, you know, they seat us and they don't even tell us, like, yo, it's gonna be a while before the waitress or the waiter gets here to serve you. And it's like, give me the opportunity to at least say, okay, I'm not gonna do it, or give me the opportunity to know it's gonna take a while so I don't get pissed off and I can be patient and wait. I can respect that. But if I go in there and I'm sitting for 20 minutes waiting just to get a drink, bruh, I'm not coming back to your business. I'm gonna make it known and I'm gonna bounce. So, man, I really hope in 2020, as we move on in 2020, 2021, these businesses, we need to hold them accountable. And I've been guilty many times of just not supporting a business, walking out, et cetera, and not telling them why. And then so it's like they never learn. So people like you and I have to start holding these businesses accountable. We work hard for our money. We work hard for our money. I work hard for my money. You work hard for your money. So why not hold these businesses accountable? If they don't speak to you, say something. If they are rude, say something. Those are my thoughts for the day, man. Again, thank you for tuning in. It's me, your host, Vaughn Frazier, and this is Vaughn's View, Black Coffee on the Moon. You already know what time it is. 1.